School District, labeled one of the worst in Kentucky by the State Department of Education, now has a plan to improve. Local 12's David Winter first broke the investigation earlier this month. Now he shows us the district's
Newport Independent
plan.
School District submitted its plans to turn around the district after a Kentucky Department of Education audits showed serious deficiencies among several areas of learning across several grades, as well as a lack of growth. And while the district superintendent,
I personally not accepted it,
and assistant superintendent
is our report valid?
publicly questioned the state's findings before Local 12 Investigates reported on the audits. After our report, the assistant superintendent told the school board the audits were confirming.
They confirmed that the areas we had already decided to work on this year were areas that, yes, we do need to improve on, and that was good.
The focus of the turnaround plans, reading and math, two topics in which the district regressed last year.
Do you really think it's going to work?
Oh yes, it's.
And to what extent? I mean, are people going to see a sea change, or are they going to see little blips moving up?
Well, that's when we're dealing with children and adults, you never know. I think you're going to see great things.
Currently, reading proficiency ranges from 30% for primary students to 40.7% in 7th and 8th grades. Math proficiency ranged as high as 30% for 7th and 8th grade, down to 25% in high school. Where there was no proficiency among 7th and 8th grade girls, 7th and 8th grade students currently score at 7.6% proficiency in science. The district is setting its goal at 70% proficiency among all students by 2022. Newport also plans to graduate 96% of its students this year and 97% by 2022, numbers the district has not reached in at least the last 3 years, but the superintendent says is attainable.
Well, when you're only talking about 100 seniors, you're talking about 10 kids.
And while Middleton may point to his urban school district and its banners of past achievements, he also is not a believer in test scores.
I can predict next year who's going to do well on the test. I can tell you who the top 10 school district is going to be, and probably 10 lowest. I can probably do it for the next 20 years out. All I have to do is look at the free reduced lunch numbers, because the state tests go by the free reduced numbers pretty much every year.
So it's about poverty.
Poverty's a factor.
For a leader of a district or for a leader of a school to suggest that because his kids come from a disadvantaged background, that they can't move and move significantly, that's problematic. That's problematic for me as commissioner. Frankly, it would be even more problematic for me as a parent of a kid in his district who was a low-income parent.
So we asked the chair of the school board whether the board and the superintendent are the issue.
Is there a point where parents should say, let's change leadership so we can see some real improvement?
Well, I think that we have made some improvement. If you've really looked at our history, we've made some improvements over these 7 years that Kelly has been here. Can we continue to make improvement? Yes.
While Newport District leadership is complying with the audit process by submitting its turnaround plans, the superintendent continues to discredit the audits, calling them in part, quote, blatant lies. Kentucky's education commissioner says the audits contain recommendations, and that's what they are, just recommendations that Newport can choose to follow or not. Reporting from Newport, David Winter, Local 12 News.
From Local 12.